Bird Box by Josh Malerman. I read it in 2017 and there's now a movie on Netflix about it. There's even a Bird Box universe with Bird Box Barcelona on Netflix and whatnot. But I read it all in one sitting, and that is not normal for me. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I wrote this about it just after. That is an amazing pace. The only other book I've finished in one sitting like this one was The Road by Cormac McCarthy. And I think there are some parallels to both the storyline here and the manner in which they are written. I hope Malerman would appreciate that comparison. I am a slow reader, and the fact that I finished these 250 or so pages in a few hours is a testament to the viability of the story. It is quick and enjoyable and a perfect digestible pastime frame for a travel book. I read it on a layover onto a plane trip returning home. Where I felt it lacked depth, it made up for with velocity. The story itself won't stick with me for very long, but the idea will, and I found it clever and fun. It will be a difficult movie to pull off because of the forced lack of sensual stimulation. I probably won't see it because I dislike scary movies, but with the book, I wasn't quite scared as I was interested. This book grasps your attention, holds it tight, and then uses it to blindly flutter through the pages to its end. The imagery is gory and horrific at times, but the true measure of this book is its suspense, which is relayed well. So I did see the movie. I watched the movie just before doing this video because I figured, I didn't know in the review that I had said that I wasn't going to watch the movie, but I have a little bit more experience with scary movies now, and I thought I could handle it. I will say, watching the movie, I did have to take breaks. It was scary. It was very intense, and the suspense was extreme for me. The reason why I say here that I think it will be a difficult movie to pull off is that so much of the suspense in the story is that you are not supposed to look at things. So in the book, you can create a world where you don't see anything and you don't have to watch people closing their eyes. I think the filmmakers did a great job of keeping the horror and the suspense while watching people hold their eyes shut. I didn't like in the movie when they were actually pulling things over your eyes and then the camera was looking through the blindfold. I thought that was not effective. And I thought there would be a lot more of that, but I think the movie did a good job of getting that intense suspense throughout. The fact that I read it in a few hours was awesome. It was such a good book, and it played so much with your creativity and your imagination. I think at the time, I was still very terrified about horror as a genre, whether it be in books or movies. I was introduced by someone that was on Josh Malerman's literary team, who was here in Portland for a horror literature festival, coming to promote this book in particular. And he told me that I had to read it. I had to experience it because it was that special. I think it is very special, and I am excited that it moved on to create the movie. I was surprised that after I watched the movie that Bird Box Barcelona popped up, but even in Goodreads, where I see in the review, it lists Bird Box as Bird Box #1. So there are potentially more books out here that are Bird Box related. I was just so happy and so positive about this first one. I didn't necessarily have a reason to move on. I think the execution here is really great. I talk about it as a travel book. It's a great one to blow through when you're on a trip. If you're looking to occupy your time in a moving vehicle of any sort, I would be amazed if people take breaks with the book because it is a massive page turner and it is exciting to read. I did end up taking breaks with the movie, but it was because I got scared. Probably also because I had already read the book, so I kind of knew what was coming, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to see that thing that I know is going to happen on screen, because as I mentioned here, it is gory and horrific. I think the movie did a great job of dealing with the gore and dealing with the intensity of the imagery. I was very happy with the movie. I think it deserves the attention that it got there, and I think this book deserves the attention too. I list it as a 3 out of 5. I don't really talk about why it's not a 4 or a 5 in these reviews. I think if I think about myself in 2017 when I was reading it, I think I was happy to blow through it and happy that it was so exciting, but in general, the genre was still pretty difficult for me at that time. I'm more open to it now, but the reality is that horror, if it's intense like this book is something that in 2017, I don't know that I would feel comfortable giving a 5-star rating to or something like that. So in thinking about Bird Box, if you like horror, if you like intensity, if you like this kind of stuff, I think it's a fantastic book and it's extremely popular. So if you haven't read it yet, I would say definitely pick it up. And I definitely say pick it up before you watch the movie if you can. I know the movie was exceedingly popular during COVID, especially talking about holding back your senses, not being able to look. Think about where it fits in the culture with things like A Quiet Place, where you have to be quiet. These things all kind of came out at the same time. And I think when we think about all the things that were restricted during COVID and during the pandemic, I think these books make a lot of sense as art, as a reflection of life. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It's Bird Box by Josh Malerman. I cannot recommend it enough if you like horror and you want some suspenseful reading that'll keep you engaged. If you like horror, you will like this book.